You mentioned HVAC there. Let's zoom in on what this is for people that don't know. And then what
Okay.
do you think about people filtering their air by upgrading the filter in that? I know you see this differently than a lot of people.
Yeah, I do. So HVAC, it means heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. Notice the V says ventilating, but people kind of skip and ignore that part. Also, when we're saying HVAC, what I'm meaning is it's like your furnace and your air conditioner. It's the equipment that is in your home that heats and cools your home. So when I say HVAC, you can assume I'm saying furnace or air conditioner, the system that heats and cools your home. And the same way doctors aren't really taught about nutrition at all. So you go in there and they tell you what meds you require, but they don't tell you about the food you eat or the air you breathe or your sleep or your water. Wild. The HVAC industry is not taught about air quality either. So they're just thinking about heating and cooling, a little bit about humidity, but they're not thinking about the optimal air quality for your family to breathe, which is a huge oversight and a huge opportunity because if the HVAC industry was more air aware, we already have a whole industry of people that are trained on air systems that could really be championing this movement in a very profound way. And HVAC, so I'll call them furnace filters because that's typically what they're called. Your furnace comes with a filter. It's a fairly low grade filter. It's typically about a MERV 8, which is a efficiency value. So it's a cheaper filter. It's not filtering that much. It lets the air pass through it. You can upgrade them to MERV 10, 11, 12, 13, etc. So now it's filtering more stuff out of the air, but it's also decreasing the airflow. Another word for that is called a pressure drop. So now the motor's working hard. Your home is not heating or cooling very much. It's decreasing the airflow, which creates a whole new host of issues. Also, your furnace was designed to heat your home. It wasn't designed to be an air filtration system at all. So when you try to make it something that it's not, it doesn't, you could technically drum on a guitar, but a drum is better. So when you try to turn your HVAC system, your furnace, into a filter, you often choke it out, you void the warranty, you decrease its ability to heat as it's intended to. There's a reason that the furnace doesn't come with a better filter, and they don't market it as an air filter system. If they could, they would, but it's not what it's built for. So you can get standalone filtration systems that go into your furnace. Those exist. They're typically a few $1,000s for a good one. The problem with those is they're very loud, and your furnace is designed to turn on and off throughout the day to be efficient. So when it's off, the air filtration is not doing anything. So you need to turn your furnace fan on 24 hours a day, which is very loud, which uses quite a lot of power. It's very like it's just an annoying background noise. You don't want that thing on more than it needs to be. And yeah, you're voiding the warranty. It's just doing something that it's not intended to. If someone's building like a fully custom home and they want to build in all this healthy home air quality stuff, you totally can. But for anyone who's renting or has a regular home or a condo or an apartment, they're just not designed that way. Also, because it's in your HVAC system, it's equally distributing the cleaning power everywhere where you want to focus the cleaning power. So if it's a school, you want the cleanest air in the classroom, not the hallway. If it's a home, you want the cleanest air in the bedroom, maybe your living room, maybe your office. When it's centralized into an HVAC system, you're cleaning the air in the crawl space and the hallway just as much as your baby's bedroom. So you're not focusing the airflow correctly. So furnaces generally are not good air cleaning machines. They're very good air warming machines.
So when it comes to the filter in the furnace, it's something we want to
Yeah.
change on a regular basis,
Yeah.
along with the filter in our Jaspr if we have one. Is it a good idea in between changing those to vacuum or clean the filters in some way? Or is that a waste of time?
It depends on the type of filter. If it has like a mesh pre-filter, which some furnace filters do, you could vacuum that to get like big chunks of hair off and dust and all that. But generally, no, because if you actually vacuum the filter, if you now look at that filter under a microscope, it's not, so imagine it's this fine mesh thing, right? And you vacuum it, you've just pulled apart the fibers a lot. So if you run a test on it, you've really damaged the filter on a microscopic level, and it's no longer going to perform that good. So to summarize, if there's a pre-filter before the filter, clean that all day with a bunch of dust on it, but actually vacuuming the filter itself is going to damage it quite a lot, and it's no longer going to be a great filter.
And I assume for Jaspr, same thing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you always want to balance sustainability, cost, effectiveness, and simplicity. Like those things are not always. Sometimes you can get it right where it's both, but sometimes you can't. So at Jaspr, we are optimizing for effectiveness and simplicity, and sustainability and cost come next. They're important. We think about them all the time, but effectiveness is the top priority, and simplicity. So our customers love that they just take the filter out, they change it in 20 seconds, they swap it out, they put it in. It's not another thing for them to maintain. We could have made it very complicated to change and either save them a little bit of money, um, give them, there's another filter called like an air doctor. They ask you to vacuum it every month, and there's 3 filters. So like it's just a chore. Um, and like there's too many, like we all live a very busy life these days. We're willing to pay for convenience. So Jaspr customers choose Jaspr for aesthetic, simplicity, performance. So it's one filter, you change it twice a year. That's it. You don't clean it, you don't vacuum it. That's who we're optimizing to help most.
All right, let's come back to HVAC. So we
Sure.
don't want to aim for the biggest MERV that we can find. You've explained why. What about maintenance on that? And the tubing that runs through the house? How does somebody go about throughout a year taking care of their HVAC?
So I call the HVAC system the lungs of your home. And if your home can't breathe, then certainly the people and the pets inside the home can't breathe. And unfortunately, when most homes are built, there's a builder, developer, architect, whatever. Often they're building, a subdivision with 200 or 2,000 homes. And the equations that they're working on for the bank is how many homes can we build, how cheap, how fast, and what can we sell them for? There's very little time where they're sitting there. How do we build this home designed for human health and vitality and performance? Which is unfortunate because if done thoughtfully and intentionally, your home can breathe and your home can have clean air, but it's not one of the things on the priority list. And I'll come back to the HVAC, but it's really important to think about how we think about homes in general. You buy a home, you get a home inspection, 5, 6, 7, $800. They're looking for everything but environmental. They're not looking for mold. They're not looking for airflow. They're not looking for dust mites. They're looking for the foundation. They're even looking for silly stuff like, do plugs work? Like it's looking strictly for stuff that's going to give you a cost. It's not looking for health things. It's not looking for airflow. It's not looking for water quality. It's not looking for mold or asbestos. What a shame. You spend $1 million on a home and $800 on an inspection, and you could buy a very toxic, moldy home. This is not cool, guys. So we need to increase the standard of our home inspections. This is sort of the first line of defense. And when you're thinking about it, so most homes, the HVAC was like the last thing they thought about. They do the square footage, big master bedroom, master bath, nice kitchen, some curb appeal, and then where can we shove the vents and the ductwork? Unfortunate, but we're working with the hands that were dealt. So important. Um, a couple things that you can do within your control. Also, it depends if you have air scrubbing or not. For me, because I filter my air, I have a MERV 8 and I change it once or twice a year, and those things never get dirty. If you're not scrubbing your air, you should probably be changing those filters every month because they're getting caked up with mold and dust and particulate and decreased airflow. So if you're not having air filtration separately, you should really be changing those filters quite a lot. And then your energy bill is going to come down, and your air quality, your heating and cooling is going to work better. The other piece here is duct cleaning, especially after construction. if you've done any like anytime you're doing a renovation or construction, you should always get your ducts clean when you're done. But if not, if you're not filtering your air, you should be getting your ducts cleaned annually for sure, because they're going to get caked up and dusty and full. Just imagine it's like the arteries of your homes, it's the airways, and it's all filled up with dust and mold. And then that's just constantly recirculating in your home. So if you're not scrubbing your air, I'd be getting your ducts cleaned annually. If you are scrubbing your air, you could typically wait every 3 or 4 years because your whole HVAC system stays much, much cleaner.
And what about the furnace itself? Does that ever need to be fully taken apart and cleaned?
After a wildfire, it's a good idea. After a big construction project, it's a good idea. Typically, they don't get, if you open up your furnace, take cake off that front panel, if it's like caked in dust, it's a good idea to get it cleaned out. Some people's get dirty and dusty, and some people's don't. Um, just check. If it looks dirty, get it cleaned. For that, just totally go by your visual cue.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch the full episode. I'll see you over there.
My background was in wildfire restoration, flood, hurricane cleanup, mold removal. So I would go to big disaster zones, make a sick home a healthy home so a family could come back. And the air was just as much a big part of making a building healthy and safe again.